بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum ya Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwwah. Peace and blessings be upon you, brothers and sisters. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being able to observe the fasting of the 5th day of the holy month of Ramadan. I also admire and appreciate the determination of the parents who helped the brothers, the younger members of the Heyat online community to prepare the Quran that is being recited in the beginning of every nightly program that we have. And thank you everyone for staying with us on these nights and for joining us on the programs that we have. Inshallah, Allah grants us the chance to make the best out of the remainder of the month of Ramadan. Continuing on the 44th dua of the Sahifah Al-Sajjadiah, we have وَحَجَرَ فِيهِ الْمَطَائِمَ وَالْمَشَارِبَ إِكْرَامًا. We were talking about the Subul al-Ihsan, the path and the road to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of which Imam Sajjad alayhi salam described was the holy month of Ramadan. And speaking about the qualities of the month of Ramadan, he says, وَحَجَرَ فِيهِ الْمَطَائِمَ وَالْمَشَارِبَ إِكْرَامًا. He prohibited foods and drinks in month of Ramadan to honor it. وَجَعَلَ لَهُ وَقْتًا بَيِّنًا لَا يُجِيزُ جَلَّ وَعَزَّ أَنْ يُقَدَّمَ قَبْلَهُ. And he appointed for it a clear time, which he majestic and mighty allows not to be set forward, وَلَا يَقْبَلُ أَنْ يُؤَخَّرَ عَنْهُ, and accepts not to be placed behind. What does it mean? وَحَجَرَ فِيهَا الْمَطَائِمَ وَالْمَشَارِبَ إِكْرَامًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited foods and drinks for certain times, for certain duration throughout a day, to honor the azama, the majesty, the significance of the month of Ramadan. Number one thing that comes to mind is a strengthening willpower. Some say that I know that I have a bad behavior, drugs, smoking, doing certain things that are immoral, that are against the social values, but I cannot stop them. The month of Ramadan, brothers and sisters, is the best opportunity that we can strengthen our willpower. Some of those who love food, or they are craving for certain unhealthy foods, or those who smoke, this is the best time for them to give up that love for food or to quit smoking. So we can't say that that is impossible. Once we can quit it for a certain amount of certain hours of a day, that's the best practice to prove to ourselves that we can prohibit certain bad behaviors, we can refrain from certain bad behaviors, we can abstain these negatively impacting behaviors that are affecting our path of perfection and our way to Sa'ada. In this condition, throughout the fasting of the month of Ramadan, we start to get aware of the circumstances that we have set our lives for. We start to know ourselves better. We start to test ourselves by seeing the results of refrainment from things that were halal, that were allowed in the other times of the day or in the other times of the year. We start knowing our weaknesses, our strength, and our talents. We can start learning out if we are suffering from certain spiritual disease. Am I jealous? Am I doing certain thing with the wrong intentions? Fasting helps us to strengthen our willpower, and having a strong willpower will allow us to know ourselves better. And it's been said that man arafa nafsah faqad arafa rabbah. Whoever knows, whoever delves into figuring out what are his weaknesses and what are his strengths, that person, knowing his very carnal self, will know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By fasting, we practice fighting our nafs. We practice jihadun nafs. And this is the key to not sinning. If we know ourselves better, then that will help us not to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to sin, not to commit ma'asiyah and whatever that we think we shouldn't commit. Our fitrah gives us that red line, that red alarm. Many of the scholars say if you want to overcome the worldly desires that you have, the best thing to do is to control the food that you intake. It's to, for example, to count the number of spoons of the food that you eat, to control it, to give up on eating unnecessary foods, for example, junk foods, stuff like that your nafs really likes, but you stop encouraging your nafs, you stop giving that green light to your nafs to do certain things. And by stomach, you can control your soul, you can control your spirit, you can control that desire for sinning. That's the key. When it comes to not drinking water, not drinking alcohol is easy. When it comes to not eating haram meat during a non-month of Ramadan is easy. Either you make yourself a slave of God, or you become the slave of yourself, your nafs. Either you worship Allah, or you worship the desires that you have in your nafs. Fasting will help us to build this willpower and this courage to fight against our nafs, our temptations. وَجَعَلَ لَهُ وَقْتًا بَيِّنًا لَا يُجِيزُ جَلَّ وَعَزَّ أَنْ يُقَدَّمَ قَبْلُهُ. And He appointed for it a clear time, which He, majestic and mighty, allows not to be set forward. وَلَا يَقْبَلُ أَنْ يُؤَخَّرُ عَنْهُ, and accepts not to be placed behind. Organization is the key, brothers and sisters. One time I was thinking that entering the month of Ramadan and leaving the month of Ramadan, the beginning of it, which starts by sighting the moon of the month of Ramadan, and leaving this month, which comes by sighting the moon of the month of Shawwal and announcing Eid al-Fitr. The days of Ramadan, you start fasting on certain time and you stop your fast, you break your fast by certain time. All of that goes through organization and the practice of the life on an organized basis. Once I was thinking, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't tell us to pray just all 17 rakat in the morning, or to just pray all the 17 rakat in the night once you come back home from work. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set certain rak'ah for the early morning, then another chunk of the prayer is for the noon, another chunk is for the afternoon, another time is when the sun starts to go down and the sun sets, another time it's for Isha, another chunk is for Isha when the sun is completely out and it's completely dark. There is no purpose except one thing for the timings of the salat, and that is to make ourselves, to make our lives to go on an organized basis. Islamic day doesn't start at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. Islamic day starts by Fajr and ends by Isha. That's how the cycle goes. And same goes with the month of Ramadan. Organizing our time so that we can get to everything. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen says in his will to Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba, "Usikum bitaqwallah wa nadhma amrikum." I suggest you, I ask you to keep an eye on two things. One is being God-fearing, and the other one is to keep organization of your work. It's been said that these two are so correlated that we can easily or strongly say if one is not God-fearing, most likely they are not having organization in life, and vice versa. If one is not organized, most likely they are going to lose the taqwa that they already have, or they are without taqwa, they are not God-fearing. That's how correlated is taqwa with organization. When you are organized on your time, shaitan will get hopeless of deceiving you, because your time is completely booked and filled with plan that you have already made. This is the time for my salat, this is the time for my Quran, this is my daily time to study, This is my daily time to help my parents. This is my daily time to spend for my wife. This is my daily time to spend with my children. These are all very important things. We have to have, throughout this month, we practice to have a special time for work, for school, for fasting, for worship of Allah, for Quran. These are all important stuff. Inshallah, once the COVID is over, we have to set a special time for going to the center. There's so many brothers and sisters who come to me and they say, we would love to go to the center before the COVID started, but we don't have time for it. You have to make the time. You have to make the time. The same way you go to gym for your physical health, you have to go to masjid, you have to go to an Islamic center, you have to attend congregation for your spiritual health. Some people who do not do their daily prayers, once you talk to them, their only excuse is that we are lazy, we don't have enough time for it. Imam Qadim alayhi salam, and this narration has been also narrated from Imam al-Rida as well. So both father and son have narrated this. He says, اجتهدوا أن يكون زمانكم 4 ساعات. Try your best to divide your daily time into 4 portions. ساعة لمناجاة الله. I believe that Imam is saying these timings based on the priority of it. He's not just saying it by accident. First for munajat, then so on and so forth. Once he says munajatullah first, it means that it's the more prior of the portions, of the other portions. Sa'atun limunajatillah, a time to supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a time to spend, to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa sa'atun li'imrar al-ma'ash, a time period for work. Look how our lives are becoming in this century. We are spending the majority of our daily time for work. We go to work early morning, we come back home dead tired, we just go right to sleep. Imam says, make a portion, 1/4 of your day only. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you a job so that you only spend 1/4 of your day working. That means 24 hours divided by 4. وَسَاعَةٌ لِمُعَاشَرَةِ الْإِخْوَانِ والثقات الذين يعرفونكم عيوبكم ويخلصون لكم في الباطن. A time to socialize with your brothers and reliable people in deen that can show you your faults and can purify you or make sincere with your inner self. That also opens a window for us. If we want to show someone's fault to them, we have to first prove our sincerity to them so that they can trust us, so that they can listen to us. And last one, وَسَاعَةٌ تَخْلُونَ فِيهَا لِلَذَّاتِكُمْ فِي غَيْرِ مُحَرَّمٍ, a time that you can enjoy things that aren't haram. And Imam says in another note that with this last portion, with this portion of entertainment, that you're entertaining yourself from non-haram, you get the energy to do the other 3 again and repeat this cycle in your life, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to increase our taqwa by increasing our organization and practicing, strengthening our willpower throughout the fastings of this month, inshallah. Keep us in your du'as. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.